Welcome back to LEGO Battlebots Season 3. It's the final fight card. We'll be heading into the postseason after this episode, and we're kicking off with a great match between Siege Engine and Mannerheim. Mannerheim, last season's third place, sits at 3-0, and they are on the verge of making a top 5 seed if they win this fight. But even if they don't, they're still in the playoffs, and will likely get a high seed since they've been doing so well this season. As for Siege Engine, they started this year 0-2 for knocking out Eye of the Storm in dominant fashion, but they still will be eliminated from the tournament if they lose this fight. They are sitting at 1-2, so even if they do win, they might not make the playoffs at all. It's all going to come down to who can get underneath the other machine. Both bots have very capable weapons that can certainly deal with the opponent effectively, but let's see who's able to win this down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Oh, it's Mannerheim getting underneath Siege Engine to start, and they flip Siege Engine over and almost get them out of the arena there. But Siege Engine able to escape, and both bots offer. But Siege Engine able to get underneath now, trying to get Mannerheim into the pit. A lot more feasible since Mannerheim is a lot later than last season. But Mannerheim now upside down, but self-right on top Siege, and that's the fight. Oh my goodness, Mannerheim started out in control, getting a few pretty small flips on Siege Engine, but they didn't really get them out of the arena. But then Siege Engine got underneath, and with a bit of struggling, got Mannerheim out of the arena. Mannerheim falls to 3-1, its first loss of the season, while Siege Engine rises to 2-2. Next up, we've got a match between a bot trying to make the playoffs and a bot that hasn't had a win so far. The Elementals sit at 2-1 after getting a victory over Venom Strike, while Crypt has fallen to 0-3. The Elementals, very adaptable, can change who goes in the arena based on their opponent, while Crypt has had a kind of powerful weapon, but just has been unable to really utilize it effectively. Its inability to self-right probably one of the major factors in that. And the Elementals do have several bots that could flip Crypt over. I mean, Earth, the Lifter, the Flipper, and Water. Or they could try to outlast it with Fire Spinner. Will the Elementals make the playoffs? Let's find out down the arena. The Elementals have brought Fire, trying to counteract the Horizontal Spinner with another Horizontal Spinner. Let the bot battle begin. Both bots spinning up. Oh, there's a great shot by Crypt, sending Fire flying halfway across the arena. And again, good start from Crypt for probably the first time this season. They got another decent shot there, and now they have fallen on their face. Well, that's gonna be it. The Elementals are now in the playoffs, while Crypt suffers its fourth and final loss of the season.
Knockout.
It started off like Crypt was doing pretty well. They were landing some decent shots. They were sending Fire flying, but they got stuck on their face, and this has been Crypt's problem. It just hasn't been stable enough to stay upright, and now it's 0-4. As for the Elementals, they've made the playoffs now, so that's good for them. Next up, we have another bot trying to go 4-0, and that is Orbital Fire. They're taking on Witch Doctor, who sits at 1-2. They're fighting for their playoff lives, and I'd say Witch Doctor has the serious design advantage in this fight. That spinner and those cheese slope forks on the front of Witch Doctor will do wonders in getting underneath Orbital Fire. If Orbital Fire somehow gets surrounded to the side or back, Witch Doctor is pretty dang fragile, as we have seen before. At least this design is. It's going to be very interesting. Will Orbital Fire go 4-0 and be the fourth bot to go undefeated in Season 3 and repeat its Season 1 performance when it claimed the number 2 seed? Or will Witch Doctor spoil Orbital Fire's run and maybe grasp a little bit of life of its own? Let's find out down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Orbital Fire getting to the side of Witch Doctor, not able to get underneath. Witch Doctor, you can see, can get underneath the front of Orbital Fire, but they're not driving too well right now. And Orbital Fire gets underneath. Great flip there, sending Witch Doctor flying. But they take a hard landing from that shot, and they could be in trouble here. Just seems to be bending a little bit in the front, but it's all... Oh! Well, that's not very good for Witch Doctor at all. Everything has basically fallen off at this point, and now they're out of the arena. Oh, that one flip, the Orbital Fire landed in the early stages, proved to be the death of Witch Doctor. They took the landing pretty well, but they just broke apart after that. That allowed Orbital Fire to land a sequence of flips to throw Witch Doctor out of the arena and secure a second 4-0 record in 3 seasons. For our midway fight, it's a win and you're in match between Titan and Duck. Of course, both bots 2 and 1, and very capable bots. Both made it to the round of 16 last season. And Titan would lose to Whiplash while Duck to Bloodsport, and those two bots would play each other in the quarterfinals. In that fight, Whiplash would eventually win, but that's kind of irrelevant to now. Titan certainly has the more powerful weapon, but Duck is also more durable. Oh, so while Titan may be able to rip off Duck's lifter given enough shots, their frame might not be able to handle just hitting Duck over and over again. That weapon has broken a ton of times here. So both bots are going to have to play to their strengths in order to try and win this fight. Let's see who can do it better down the arena. Let the bots battle begin. Ooh, Titan already caving Duck's face in, and there goes the beak. Well, Duck is not going to be able to consistently get underneath Titan at all, but it will be able to there. Deflecting Titan upwards and temporarily getting underneath, but unable to really make anything of it. And that's going to be it for the face. The frontal plow, that just solid brick on the front of Duck, is now gone. That is going to heavily limit which orientation they want to be, though at this point it really does not matter, because Duck is just a brick with wheels. There goes one of the arms now. And Titan is doing a ton of damage early. That's kind of what we expected from this fight. It's Titan to rip off all the easy chunks and then struggle against the main chassis of Duck that just quite literally is a brick. I can't see Titan splitting Duck in half. They're gonna have to get in a weird orientation in order to get a knockout here, and they nearly did so there, but Duck speaks. Oh, there's a huge shot by Titan. That spinner's starting to go to work, sending Duck flying. They could also just throw Duck out of the arena. That would be a perfectly legitimate strategy here, whereas Duck is not that heavy in terms of, I mean, they could throw it out of the arena pretty easily if they get the right angle. But Duck, they've lost the other arm now, and they are quite literally just a box with wheels at this point. Oh, and there's another brutal shot that also flips Titan in the same blow. And again, jeez, Titan is just sending Duck flying, and Duck is just taking it. Duck finally gets underneath Titan again. That's the second time that's happened entire fight. And they're doing a good job occasionally stopping that weapon and taking some serious shots. Oh, and there they go, flying into the corner again. And now they're stuck on their side on the arena wall. And now they seem to have balanced out. Oh my goodness, is this gonna be it? Titan backs off, and yes, it is. The countdown has started. Duck cannot get off the wall from there, and that is gonna be the end of this fight. Well, this fight kind of went exactly as we anticipated. Titan was able to rip the face off of Duck. I was able to rip off the arms that connected the face to the main body as well, leaving Duck a box with wheels. And they were able to just get some brutal shots in after that. Duck absolutely absorbed the punishment after those arms came off. Like, they didn't really take any damage, so that is what they are designed to do. So, good for them for surviving that long. Titan was not going to rip Duck's chassis apart. Like, that just wasn't going to happen. Titan just showcased the raw power in that weapon again. So it's just how high it sent Duck. Like, there's very few bots who can just consistently get a bot above the arena walls in terms of heights at a consistent basis. And eventually, Titan was able to get Duck stuck on the arena wall, secure its place in the playoffs for the 3rd season in a row, and Duck falls to 2-2, and who knows what's going to happen to it. Next up, Rookie Inverse takes on Deadlift. Deadlift on the verge of making the playoffs. They are 2-1, and with a win here, they're automatically qualified for the tournament, while Inverse is sitting at 1-2, meaning if they don't win this fight, they are going to be eliminated. Inverse certainly has the weapon power to rip Deadlift apart. I mean, the weapon is what makes Inverse, basically, and Deadlift is known for not having too much durability. But if Inverse never gets that weapon underneath Inverse, and you're underneath Deadlift, I mean, it's just not going to matter. I mean, Deadlift, its greatest strength is in that low ground clearance, so two very contrasting designs, competing one for a guaranteed spot in the playoffs, one for the tournament lives. Let's see who wins this down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Inverse spins up and Deadlift takes the shot directly to that lifter. As feared, Deadlift is lower than this, but Inverse manages to get underneath there somehow, landing a shot to the right there. And oh, the right side wedges come off. Deadlift is gonna not be able to do anything but crab lift, and Inverse continue crab walk, not crab lift. What the heck am I talking about? But Inverse now targeting that right side, which is already heavily damaged, and now going for the left side, trying to get the other drive side off. And or they could just rip off the entire back, and this fight is over. The countdown will start, and both of these bots will end up at 2-2. Nobody knows what's gonna happen now. Well, Inverse has got the early games they won, ripping off one side of Deadlift's drive. And eventually was able to rip off just the back part of the robot. Both bots now sit at 2-2, and who knows what's going to happen to both of them now. Maybe they could meet each other again in a planned match. Who knows? I mean, obviously I know since I've already filmed it, but you guys don't know, and you won't know until next episode. For our penultimate fight of the fight cards, Big Dill takes on Jackpot, with both bots sitting at 1-2. A loss here eliminates either of these bots. Both bots have pretty low ground clearance and fairly capable weapons, but durability/reliability has always been a huge problem. Jackpot for their entire frame, and Big Dill fortunately for just the forks. All gonna come down to who can underneath, and also who can outlast the other bots. Let's see who wins this fight and avoids immediate elimination down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Jackpot gets underneath Big Dill, but Big Dill ends up taking the advantage, flipping Jackpot over at the cost of one fork. Now they're going in for another suplex. Well, that's two suplexes now, and now they flip Jackpot right side up. That was kind of a terrible idea. And Big Dill gets underneath again, and it turns out it didn't matter, because Big Dill just suplexed Jackpot for the third time this fight, as now backing away. Jackpot got absolutely bodied in this fight, and now is eliminated from the competition.
1, knockout.
Well, that's about as beautiful a performance as you can hope for when you're Big Dill. 3 suplexes at only losing 1 fork. That's pretty dang good. Big Dill now sits at 2-2 with his fate uncertain, while Jackpot is guaranteed to be eliminated from the competition. And now it's time for the main event, the final fight card fight of Season 3. And once again, we see Sawblaze. This time they're taking on Tantrum. This fight has already happened 2 times. The first time in Season 1 in both of these boss' final fight. Tantrum I think it was the 3rd fight, my bad. Tantrum decimated Sawblaze and took an easy victory. Won the Season 2 quarterfinals. Sawblaze was the one that got the upper hand, getting the win and advancing to the semifinals, and they would eventually go on to win the entire season. The defending champ now stands against Tantrum again, and This is just always a very interesting fight. We've seen Sawblaze, he's gained the upper hand and get underneath Tantrum before already, but Tantrum could always get underneath, could always land some brutal shots of its own and throw Sawblaze out of the arena. This is such an interesting fight. We've seen these bots fight so many times already, both in real life and in LEGO. But let's see who wins this, who clinches an automatic tournament spot, and who falls to 2-2 and has their fate uncertain down in the arena. Let the main event begin. Sawblaze get underneath Tantrum early, pinning them to the wall already, dropping that hammer saw a couple times, and they are already in complete control. This is what happened last time. Sawblaze took control, got underneath Tantrum basically every time they could, and just put Tantrum wherever they wanted. That's exactly how it's starting right now. We nearly get a good slam in there, but Tantrum was able to escape. But not able to escape that slam, but Tantrum is going to be able to easily take these rams. That armor belt is pretty resistant to direct slams, considering it's basically directly touching the chassis itself. But now Sawblaze trying a unique strategy, using that hammer saw to get a good grab on the section of Tantrum's frame that in the hole in the middle where the weapon goes, and they use that perfectly to get Tantrum into the screws for the first time this fight. And here they slam Tantrum into the wall again and use that same strategy again. Ooh, big slam there, and they flip Tantrum over now. Now slam them into the opposite wall, ripping off a self-rider. That could have been absolutely disastrous for Tantrum. If both of them had come off, then Tantrum wouldn't have been able to self-right there, and that would have been the end of the fight. Of course, assuming Sawblaze didn't go back in for another hit, which a lot of these bots would have. Sawblaze is taking just complete control of this fight. Not too much time is left. I mean, it's still a decent part of time for Tantrum to try and turn the tide, but with every second, it's more opportunities wasted for Tantrum to try and come back in this fight. Sawblaze just keeps getting underneath. Tantrum hasn't gotten underneath once in this entire fight. That wedge is just too low. There's another little slam, another flip of Tantrum, and now, oh my goodness, that could have been disastrous if Sawblaze had gotten the right angle. And time is really running out for Tantrum. They've got to get things going now. Well, they are getting stuck on bars with Sawblaze now. And there is not much time left in this fight, but Tantrum finally gets to the back of Sawblaze, finally gets underneath and lands a good shot, bullies them into the corner, but Sawblaze able to escape. Tantrum could not continue that attack, and Sawblaze just gets underneath again, slam Tantrum with the quote, but Tantrum gets underneath the side, gets underneath the back, and puts Sawblaze in the pit. Oh my goodness, that was Riptide Hypershock levels of, that was basically Riptide versus Hypershock, though instead of a brutally powerful vertical spinner, you had a complete control bot. Instead of the bot breaking apart, you had them going into the pit. Sawblaze just completely dominated for well over 2.5 minutes in that fight. Sheer domination, just a perfect performance from Sawblaze. They were not doing anything wrong, basically. They just had complete and utter control of this fight, and yeah, I mean, it's clearly Sawblaze just is the better bot right now. I would argue, because like Tantrum only got the advantage when they had Sawblaze's rear end and side. That's the only times they had the opportunity to get shots in. And every time they went head to head, Sawblaze was just get underneath and would be better. So I'd argue Sawblaze is the better bot here, but they just made some huge blunders at the end. I mean, they had the opportunity to come back from that first mistake, but that second one where Tantrum got to the side, that spelled their demise, and that will result in Tantrum going to 3-1. Clinching a tournament spot for the third season in a row. They are now at 10-2 in Invite Card performances, while Sawblaze now falls to 2 and 2, their worst fight card performance yet, and they will join 16 other 2 and 2 bots at the mercy of who knows what system will be allowed.